Good open date. Some recruiting. It was a good week. Had a good practice last night, and we're gonna play a very good Iowa team. Very good. Questions?
That you were going to go look at some stuff, see if you were predictable, maybe on third down. Is there anything that came of just internal reviews that you?
Well, we're not particularly very good. Third and 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, and so sometimes, you know, like most people, just statistically, our third and real long is much better than our third and much more manageable. And when you're playing a team like Iowa, it's really efficient, very good in the running game. They're going to get in a bunch of third and manageables where you got the run, pass combinations and all that. So there's sometimes we're in decent position not making plays, and that's going to happen some. When it's a guy on a guy, and, you know, against Michigan State, there's a couple times we got some decent coverage and they still make a shot. But the real deal is we got to improve, to me, our third and medium short, where we're basically not getting any stops. And when I say any, I mean it needs to be a lot more than it is. That's the offense has a little bit better advantage then, but defensively you can make a tackle and keep a running play at third, you know, for 3rd and 3 and get it to 1 or 2. So.
Third downs, what you've seen are some of the issues for you guys. Your percentage, I know, is lower than what you'd like.
Yeah, I think, you know, with Jordan's early, again, we were a lot more in third manageables. And we've gotten a little bit with his injury, a little bit more pass-oriented, which gets you a little bit more behind chains with some long yardage. You've also, I think, played statistically, and this defense here is, what, 4th in the country in run defense, and very good. But I know Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State defensively are all extremely high in run defense and good defense, so you're kind of playing uphill. I think, and not just Jordan's deal. Again, I think the injury at Danny Friend kind of hurt. Again, same deal. I think we've kind of lost a little bit of our balance, where, again, we've gotten into more third and longs, which to me gets you sledding uphill a little bit.
I guess talking about Jordan, you know, I know the bye week probably was good for him. Is he better than he's been, I guess, since Ohio State, being able to come through the Michigan State game the way he did and then get the week off?
Yeah, I mean, he practiced every day with no setbacks. You know, we were told going into the Michigan State game that he should be able to play and not have any issues, and he didn't. As far as coming back, and now he practiced on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday last week with the work we did, lifting, running. Was really good last night and the work we did. So he's the best he's been. Now, is he as good as before he got hurt? I mean, I guess that's judgmental, subjective, his opinion. But he came out of the last game with no setbacks and looked good last night. I think as players, for the most part, very impressed with how our group has kind of handled a lot of coming to work days every day, when good or bad. I don't think this team's been a team that's been a roller coaster up and down with energy. I didn't think our game performance, thought we were a little stale at Penn State, but other than that, there's not been a lot of visuals of, you know, I didn't like the body language or the effort or the attitude and energy. And again, we did a fair amount of what we use the word developmental. And sometimes developmental, maybe it's Greg Gooch, who's learning how to play bandit, who was playing linebacker. Maybe it's Brandon Knight that you're already playing as a freshman. So it's not just, hey, you're redshirted guys or guys that aren't playing. It's just, you know, some of the second-team guys need work. So we did a fair amount of that last week. Did some introductory work for the guys that have played a lot, try to take a little bit of hitting off of them. Last night we kind of gassed it back up a little bit and kind of really wasn't a very long practice, but we were padded up. We were buzzing around, did a lot of work together. A short version of a preseason or a spring ball kind of day, and a lot of energy. So again, like what I saw, and hopefully that'll lead into some really strong prep. Now we're kind of back into just Iowa. Last week it was a little bit of everything, a little bit of developmental, a little bit of intro of a few opponents, a little bit of get your team fresh mentally, physically. But I liked last night was one of the better practices we've had, and I think we're a decent practice team. Want to get us into being a better game team, and we'll see if that translates Saturday. But last night was very good, Don. To me, and I think our football guys will tell you just how consistent they play, and as a group, offense, defense, kicking, put it all together. I mean, last game is an example of it's a 14-0 game, and right before half they sky punt, coffin corner to the 3, play 3 straight plays of shutdown D, get a block punt that's deflected out to the 19, and they score in 4 plays later, 3 plays later. And so it's about an 8-10 play run of all phases from sky kick into defense into punt return into that. Maryland scores to make it 21-7, and they recover an onside kick. Iowa does, where you just see, that's the 3rd phase in that game of a kicking unit. It's 24-7, and Maryland's down ready to score, and there's an 80-yard interception return, 80-something yard on a wide receiver screen. So you just see them contributing all phases, playing really good run defense, running the ball very, very well. Quarterback's playing at a high level, got a lot of nice weapons. Like the way their offensive line and tight ends block and complement. Defensively, playing really good run defense, giving up, 65, 70 yards a game, 4th in the country. Defensive back leads the country in pick returns. So it's a team that's playing really, really good and well coached as they always are. Last week, if you had played a lot, there was not a bunch of hitting now. We cranked it back up last night with a fair amount. And what contact or work we did had hitting were guys that had not played a lot. So let's just take a little bit off your shoulders, off your neck of just some of the stuff. So we did some lifting. We did several things we do and some stretch and rehab recovery stuff. So we'll see how they feel. But you're going to play, again, 2 very strong run-oriented teams with play-action pass and then 2 road games. So Big Ten football in the month of November is physical football. So we'll see if we got the toughness and the mental maturity to play tougher down the stretch. So hopefully, but we'll see.
What's T.J. Simmons doing with his ankle?
Look good. Just talk to me. Say it looked okay. You ever ask a question? It's not medical. I mean, there's a lot. So he's okay.
Rashard Fant, I guess you've talked about him, I guess is almost a progression for him, needing to get bigger and stronger, maybe adapt to the size and the speed of the game. I guess where's the next sort of benchmark for him? I know he's been good and he's come up against a lot of number 1.
I think on all of those guys, and the question was asked just where are some of those guys, because to me he's still a young guy. It's the first time he's played this much football. So in the football world, he's still a young guy physically. You tell a kid, to me, you need to get stronger. And one of the reasons why I don't dislike playing freshmen is when you get out there and realize you're not strong enough, it's easier to motivate them to lift in the winter because now they feel that. It's one thing to say that, but they're like, I'm fast, I can run, I can jump, I can catch a ball, defend a ball, I can run block or whatever. But when you play Tuesday, Wednesday preparation into Saturday games for we've already played 3 months. We started 1st of August, and so we're sitting here now 3 months in. You got 4 weeks of preseason. You've got 8 games. You've played 12 weeks of football. Your body wears down. So to me, Rashard's progression is just physical strength and him getting bigger and to make more competitive one-on-one 50-50 plays. And when you're playing the Big Ten, you're playing some very big, strong receivers. His coverage skills are good, but the ability to get guys on the ground, make some one-on-one tackles better, and just really be more consistent breaking up some competitive plays. There's some length and strength that you need to do that.
How's Griffin Oaks doing after Michigan State? Has he kind of recovered from that performance, or is this an open competition with the Grosso?
Well, there's always competition, but to me, again, he still leads the conference in field goal kicking, so he's human. He missed one, and whatever those PATs. We'll see. I mean, we'll keep an eye on him, making sure it doesn't become an issue. Right now, I mean, he's a good kicker that didn't have a good game, but he's got a lot of time being a really good kicker, and so does Aaron. And so it's not like we're charting everything, but we'll keep an eye on. We expect him to bounce back, and for some reason, more than anything, just body. You can be human and miss a kick, but just the way you carry yourself and your confidence level has a lot to do with that. And if we question that, if we need to do something else, we will. But I don't expect that. At the same time, I do have a lot of confidence in Aaron. I think he was our starting kicker a year ago. So, they're both good. They were both the 2 best kids in the state when they came out. Aaron started. Aaron had a game that wasn't particularly good and had bad body language, and we went to Griff, and he kind of took off. And the next week, had a couple good kicks against Missouri and some nice out of the end zone. Had a school record kick the next. He's done kind of good, but came off the first bad deal, so we'll see how he responds. So we'll keep an eye on him. I expect him to do well, but I do have a lot of confidence in Aaron if we need it, so we'll just let it play out. It's not, by no means, there's no threatening gestures, other than we just expect him to bounce back, have the right body language, make the kicks he can. If he misses one, move on and make the next one.
Talked about it's coming up. You guys, is there anything that you're planning to do to honor veterans or anything with Veterans Day coming?
Yeah, I don't know. The school, we always kind of do something. We do have, I think tomorrow Jeff's going to provide an opportunity for you guys to visit one of our players, Halford. Is a Marine, 26-year-old walk-on that's joined us. He's actually we were going to have him here today, but he's actually at the VA today getting his ears checked, I think, or something. So, and he's kind of, he's had 4 years. He's still kind of on active call. James is from Mundelein up in Chicagoland. But was a late walk-on, and he's a linebacker type guy that our defense has used as a fullback. So that'd be someone that we're going to talk a little bit. Like we wear that pink deal, and everybody thinks it's, that the color's cool or something. We make a big deal about, the people that go through the ordeal with breast cancer and things, what a team commitment it is to overcome health issues and how much you got to fight. And it'd be the same deal if we're going to represent and do something to honor the military. Well, those guys fight on a constant battle and put their lives at risk to give us the chance to live these comfortable lives we live that we take for granted. So we kind of make a big deal if we're going to represent something. It's not a cool sticker or a T-shirt or a slogan, but that your play needs, if you're going to represent someone, you need to play in a way that those people you're representing would be proud of you. And so I think we'll have James visit with you guys at the end of yesterday. He's a first-year guy. Matter of fact, I asked him last week would he want to do something. I think he was a little embarrassed. Well, I just got here and I'm not playing yet, and I don't deserve it. Like, no, this is a little bit more. It's not about you. It's really about our team getting ready for Iowa. But if we are going to represent our military and our vets, we got a guy that's a 4-year serviceman on our team. I'd like to throw him out and just be respectful of what he sacrificed and given to us and to our country. So that's a little internal thing we'll do. And I know the school will do some other things. Mr. Glass will, as we get into some game day prep and whatnot.
The Iowa's former quarterback in a couple of weeks, but what has Beathard done for them? How has he?
Hadn't lost. He's 9-0. Football family. His grandfather was the old Redskins GM, I believe, Bobby Beathard, right? So just seems to have a nice presence about him. I guess he's injured a groin, but he's still moving around pretty good that last game. I think they're smart. He's a kid that does have some mobility, but really distributes the ball well. I think they got a lot of nice pieces on offense. A couple tight end guys. One of them was a kid his dad coached at Oklahoma when I was down there. I know him real well. But the way they use the tight end group, they're very talented at receiver. Several running backs. They've had multiple guys over 100 yards, a couple guys at 200. That goes back to the O-line, which is Coach Kirk and his son Brian and the job they do, especially Brian. I think he does a heck of a job with the line. So he's just kind of back there managing. I don't know if it's a great group, but you put them all together, and they're better together than they are independently because that line can block and those tight ends complement. And here comes those hard-running running backs, and they get one-on-ones, and that quarterback gets them in good plays. So you don't win all these games the way they're winning. They're scoring points. Like I say, they've done a nice job, and I've always had a lot of respect for their program and the job that they've done there, and this is a good football team. And good question. I don't know if they target him as much as you're going to see. You can always flip-flop your ends and play a matchup. Some guys are just, that's the side they play on sometimes, with whether it be an upper-level guy like Joey Bosa and Shalik Calhoun. I think he's played. He's really played for 3 years. He started playing 2 years ago with some of the injuries to Ralston Evans. So as Ralston has had some injuries, Demetrix had a chance to play, and as he's played, he's matured. And now that he's played this year, like I say, he and Dan Feeney were awesome last night. They were flying around. They were kind of feeding off each other. It was kind of great to see. It was a good little vibe. So I just, I don't know if Demetrix, I'd say overly, whelmingly talented as an O-lineman, but he's very, very big, very long. He's matured in strength level, and then with that, his confidence. I think he feels good about himself, and he plays good. So I mean, he's been a solid player for us right now, and we'll need him to play well these 4 games.
You were praising him a while back. You said he was a bit of a dude. Is that just because he's from Texas, or?
No, I don't know if he's a dude. He's a guy. He's all right. He's good. He's playing well. He's maturing. It's just, you just want kids to come in. And bottom line, if you'd ask him, matter of fact, I pointed him out and I should have pointed like Jake Reed and him out. And I said, tell me how your role was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Did you really like it? Did you like the way things are going? No. And I go, but as you just, as a lot of guys will give up or walk out or quit trying, you guys just kept coming to work. You kept a good attitude. And how's your role now? How much do you like it now? How much fun is it now? Because all they've done is, quote, matured. And they just stayed on task and stay with it. They kept bringing it every day. And that being said, they've just slowly but surely matured. And it's good to see.
I was wondering, some of the way some of the games ended, the Michigan State with the punt, Notre Dame almost had a thing with a long pass. When you approach end of game, 4th down, 10 seconds left, you have a lead. I mean, do you have a certain philosophy on that? Do you punt? Do you throw a long pass? Do you just run around? How do you kind of approach that?
Well, if you win the game, whatever you did was right. And if you lose, it was a bad call. So, I mean, you can skin that cat. We went years ago at Oklahoma Day in practice with Bradford's playing like, hey, let's sprint out to the right and throw a Hail Mary pass and see how long it can take. In practice, Coach said, okay, that sounds like a great idea. Well, Sam ran out and he went to throw it. And when he went to throw it, the ball slipped out of his hand. It was a fumble. It was practice. He's like, don't do that. We're just like, hey, does it take 6 seconds, 7 seconds, 8 seconds? So if you can't, how much time do you have? So, I mean, there's, you're playing odds. I think the one thing, I think too many football coaches are too conservative. I think they count. I kind of like the thought process of Tiger Woods years ago, and he said, well, he always expected his opponent to make the putt. There's another golf analogy for you, Alex. Go ahead and tweak that out real quick. All right? Wilson golfs one more time. But he expected the guy to make, versus I hope he misses. Like I'm lining mine up saying, he's going to make his. So I know right now, okay, it's right edge, and here we go. I got to make my putt. And, I think sometimes, I thought working with Coach Stoops, who had a feel from Coach Spurrier, like the one thing I didn't like at the Rutgers game was, well, on 3rd and 1, we didn't get it. I probably should have went for it on 4th down because they had all the momentum. Like when no punt and play defense. They had all the momentum. Where mathematically you say, hey, odds are, well, if you really look at mathematical stats, and I'm not huge on looking at them, but mathematical stats say we punt too much. And odds of getting conversions, and really what you need is conversions that get the points. And like I said, I thought early. Go back to that Western Kentucky. Remember the Western Kentucky game where we went for it at the end, and we were up by 10. And my thought was, when you're saying what's your thoughts? My thought was, first of all, Western Kentucky is going to score touchdowns a lot. That's just the type of team they are. No matter, not that your defense is going to play bad, they are going to score touchdowns. So my thought was, if we kick a field goal, it goes to 13. So I flick over defense. I said, if we kick a field goal, it's 13. You're still losing with 2 touchdowns. I think we need to go to 17, make it a 3-score game. So what do you guys think? Go back to offense. Like, again, if we're sitting here, we can go to 13 because you're not going to lose at 10. A touchdown field goal, you got overtime. So the only way you're going to lose, in other words, if we make it a 13-point game, we assure them of being in 4-down territory their last 2 drives. So they're going for it on every 4th down because they're not kicking a field goal. That's all that happened by kicking a field goal. And so, in my mind, I go through that. I'm completely convinced there's no doubt that is the mathematical right decision to do. And we didn't get the play, but that was the right decision to do. Well, then a couple weeks later, I think everybody's making a big deal about the Tennessee-Florida game or whichever game it was, where Tennessee was up by 13 or something. One of those games, they were up. I can't remember.
They were up 12, and they kicked the extra point instead of going.
Yeah, and everybody made a big deal about that one. And I started thinking, let's go. And I went back to my game where we were up by 10, said, hey, if we would have went to 13, I'm thinking we got to go to 17. Well, if I'm at 13 and they can score 2 touchdowns to get me to 14, and now they got a 1-point lead, if there's 30 seconds a game, Griffin Oaks can get in field goal range pretty easy because I've seen him kick 60-yarders. So even though I thought, hey, I ensured, but what if they did score their 2 touchdowns? And I needed to come from behind. Well, it's a lot easier to get 3 points than 7 points with 30 seconds. You know what I'm saying? You can get a return out to the 30, 35 maybe. You can throw a couple quick passes if you had timeouts, whatever. I mean, so even in my mind, I'm like, I need to get to 17 so if they don't score touchdowns. I didn't take into consideration how good my field goal kicker was. And I thought about that the next week. Like, wait a minute now, let's go back and play that one more time. Even though I make them score 2 touchdowns, because of the leg of Griffin Oaks, mathematically, with 30 seconds to go, I'd rather get him instead of now I got to chunk a touchdown. Because if I'm at 10 points and they score 2 touchdowns, I got to chunk a touchdown with 30 seconds. I don't know how much time's left. But if you go through playing that deal out. So I go back to last week or 2 weeks ago, Rutgers, 3 weeks ago now. I thought at 4th down and 3, because they had scored so many points, probably should have went for that one there. Even though it was on the 30-yard line short field, they had so much momentum. I don't know if it really mattered because they had all the mojo. And so, again, a thing from working with Coach Stoops, a thing from being around Coach Spurrier is you don't follow a piece of paper, you get a feel for the flow of the game. And there's some times where when you say, what are you doing? To me, it's the flow of the game. If I'm punting it, it's going to be a one-step punt. We practiced that last night. Hey, catch it one step, get it off. Boom, got to catch it and get it out. So do you punt it, whatever? But there, I mean, we just showed the team the Miami-Duke game, the Georgia Tech, Florida State game, and the Michigan State game. Again, keep playing. So.
Trick-or-treating Halloween, what did the players think about that? Did you guys do anything special with them?
We typically, because trick-or-treating can be on a weeknight when coaches sometimes are working. So we just started bringing the kids to the office, have dinner with them. And because we're a morning practice team, you didn't see the players last night because we had practice. We invited the families to catch about 15 minutes of practice, and half of them had decorated themselves up in their appropriate attire. We were able to give them a meal and with their dads and all that. And then because even though it was open, like for example, you know, I left Tuesday recruiting and was gone, and most of those guys were gone. So even though it was off week, those guys have been working. So it's nice to get a little dad time. I thought that was pretty cool. It was good. Nothing with the players. What else?
The announcement about the Michigan game this morning.
What announcement's that?
The broadcast info being 12 or 3:30 kickoff. That'll be 5 out of 6 Big Ten games for this program that will have been on ABC or ESPN. 4 of those 6 in the 3:30 slot. So I was just wondering, what kind of impact has that had? That sort of national exposure.
Well, we were out recruiting last week, and when you say impact now, it was kind of exciting going out recruiting. There was a good buzz and vibe with coaches. See people in the hallways, people in the, matter of fact, I was getting my shoes signed in Columbus, Ohio, and the guy says, man, that second-team quarterback scared me to death. He didn't know who I was. I just had my little logo on. I go, really? He says, yeah. He said, first game, but man, that second-team kid, he got heart, man. I was all worried. I just kind of played along with him a little bit there, and because unfortunately it was raining so much, my shoes got all gunked up, so I was actually getting the shoe shine. But it was a good vibe, and there's a good vibe in our recruiting efforts. I think right now, if you look at our recruiting, we're kind of where we've been the last couple of years right now, as far as who we got, where we're at, how we do it. We just kind of keep battling, and we kind of keep going. We're going to identify the right kind of guys. We're going to validate the guys that are, their grades are good. There's a new grade issue this year where you're going up to a 2.3 with your guys, and so there'll be some mid-semester academic verifications. Are all your students doing well? There'll be a lot of kids. We've not done a lot of early visit recruiting. We'll get some guys in this week. Next week we'll get a lot of kids December, and then our January mode. So, but I was very encouraged on the road, just watching kids practice, listening to their coaches talk, the phone conversations we've had, and I think the more now we need victory, and we need wins. And we got a tough opponent this week. But there was a point in time I didn't know if we were ever going to get on those networks. Now it's nice we're getting there. But man, what this is about. It's about winning, and it's about getting Mangieri, Shaw, and Sudfeld and Spriggs and those guys some W's. And we're going to have a very, very good week. And we're going to go after Iowa as hard as we can. I expect it to be a great game. I know they're a great team, but I just like the look in our guys, like the way they're doing it. And I think we're going to have the best go we can this week and keep moving. And then, like I say, I'm very encouraged with what I hear when we're dealing with recruits. It's still a battle, and just because they committed don't mean you got them. You're going to get them or get them. There's a lot of water to go over the dam, but I think that exposure's helped a bunch. It says a lot for the way those kids have played. We need to get W's, though. I can guarantee you that.